and welcome to another episode of The GYST. You know, when it comes to life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, sometimes you just need a moment to get your shit together, and so do we. Welcome. Listen, this episode is going to be off the chain. The conversation is real. The people that you are seeing on this screen are real, and I feel like it's really going to tug on our hearts, as well as those who are watching and listening. So I'm your host, Kay Bellamy, and I have my co-hosts, Valerie and Stephanie. And then we have such an awesome guest hanging out with us tonight, Tia Lyles Williams. And I don't have enough time to kind of give you her entire resume, but I will give you the gist of who she is. And so, so basically, Tia is like taking the city of Philadelphia by storm when it comes to biotech, bioscience. She is the shit, if I could say it again. That's who she is. And she owns a biotech manufacturing company called Lucas Pi Bio. When I tell you knowledgeable about the vaccine, about why we have the options that we have and why we don't have them in the Black communities, and I mean, anything that you want to know. But tonight, and that will be a part of the conversation as well, but tonight we are talking about the violence that is happening in the city of Philadelphia, and it is out of control. Out of control. We are now at the top of the leaderboard when it comes to gun violence. We are losing our children. I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about babies. We are losing babies accidentally. We are losing our sons, our daughters, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews. It's not just Black males, it's Black females. We are losing our children to these streets and to gun violence. I'm not even going to say to these streets, because some of this is just accidental because people just are not caring. So with all that said, the question becomes, why don't Black Lives Matter? Because we marched and we talked about it and we sang and we held hands and we did kumbaya and we had all races and ethnicities in the streets and they were marching in support of Black lives. But yet we continue to take our lives every single day. Why don't Black Lives Matter? Anybody jump in.
So I think, and I'll jump in because I started talking first. So, you know, it's an interesting question when we talk about why don't Black lives matter? And I don't think it's about Black lives not mattering, because I think to those of us that Black lives have mattered, they've always mattered, they continue to matter. And even when Black Lives Matter started, you know, back in 2013, and that was kind of to, you know, address the fact that, you know, like our Black men and Black children were dying at the hands of, you know, police officer or so-called do-gooders or people of other races. The problem, and some of the problem I've always kind of thought to myself is, do Black lives matter enough to us? Because we're dying at our own hands. I mean, when we're looking at some of the, you know, the violence that has happened in Philadelphia, it's, you know, it's Black on Black crime. It's people not being careful when children are around and you got a beef with somebody else and you're shooting, and it doesn't matter whether the kids are around. So the question really becomes not so much do Black lives matter, does it matter to us? Because we tend to be the ones sometimes that are killing our own people.
This is true. This is absolutely true. And while that is the question, you know, we say that, and I'm trying to figure out what is it that keeps us continuing to take our own lives and you know, to take lives of our own people. Why doesn't it matter to those who are, you know, out here just randomly just shooting and not caring who's around, not caring if there's babies that are playing outside? Why is that? Why?
I think, unfortunately, we talk about Black Lives Matter, and it's a great tagline and it sounds
Yes.
wonderful. It's a great hashtag, and we
Mm-hmm.
all subscribe to it. I think all of us on this call could probably say, yeah, I do believe Black Lives Matter. You know, for me, Black love matters. You know, Black parents matter. Black babies matter. All of that. I think, unfortunately, at the end of the day, for too many people, certain Black lives matter. You know, it's
Yeah.
certain Black lives. Which lives are they? You know, and again, it becomes very, very personal. And we say it, but then we turn around and we look in the news. And I just saw a young lady who, 18 years old, I don't even know her name. To my knowledge, her name hasn't been published yet. She was killed somewhere, either 16th and Cecil B. Moore, somewhere in that area, right? And for me, it becomes very personal because that's literally where my daughter was living up until about a week ago, right? You know, she's a student at Temple and she was there on campus and living there. And she and her friends had gone out to a party. I don't know if I shared this. She and her friends had gone out to a party. And we had pulled her off of campus about 2 weeks before because of an incident at 16th and Cecil B. Moore. And we just said, that's it. I can't sleep at night. We bring her home, her dad and I, and she goes out. And I said, okay, well, you can go back, spend the night. It's late, but you're going to come right back in the morning. Okay. She and her friends go out to a party, have a great time. They're coming home. They can't get onto their block because there had been another shooting right at that same location on her corner. And the police, they're able to get through the yellow tape. The police let them in. And they get to their apartment. All is good. They go to sleep. They wake up in the morning in the daylight and they find bullet holes through their apartment.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Right. And one young lady, I'm getting chills. I call her like my other daughter. You know what I mean? I've known her since she was 7. Our kids all went to school together. There was a bullet hole directly through her mirror. It came from outside, through a wall, through her mirror, right at like eye level. Right? What if those kids had been home?
Yep.
Right? So it becomes very, very personal. And I thought in that moment, because we all say, well, if my kids are in the right place, doing the right thing, they're not in trouble, they're going to be okay, right? I went down there, same thing in school. I hung out down there too. You don't mess with anybody, they don't mess with you. You mind your business, blah, blah, blah. Those kids could have been sitting there putting on makeup, getting dressed, doing whatever. And it could have been a horrible accident in that very moment. So it's got to become personal to us, you know, about these lives mattering. Because it's not just my child, you know, it was 3 other girls in that apartment that night. There were 3 other apartments in that building that night. There were a host of other people's babies on the street that night, you know? So it's got to be personal to us.
And this is true. And when you say it's got to be personal to us, it goes as far as why is it we don't know where our children are and what they're doing? Because somebody is holding these guns. Somebody's child is carrying these guns and pulling the trigger on these guns. Why is it we don't know that about our child or our children?
I beg to differ. I piggyback on Steph and say you're right when you say it's not all Black Lives Matter, some Black Lives, and that's because majority of our people are in survival mode. So when they say Black Lives Matters, to your point, Kay, they're talking about in their immediate circle matters for whatever reason they matter for. So you brought a point to say why we don't know that these kids, or they don't know that their kids are toting these guns, know what they're doing. Some of them, a lot of them do know their kids are toting these guns and know what they're doing. A kid is a part of bringing that income into that family. So that Black life matters to them for that aspect. Same way with the federal government. Black Lives Matters, you know, when you got a presidential election, Black Lives Matters, you know, the economy's low, we need to stimulate, let's hand out these checks. Right. So much, it matters so much that when those, you know, those of us who receive those checks, and especially this younger generation, said, oh, I'm not going to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to take my check and invest it. That the federal government got pissed off and said we should snatch back the money because they're not using it for substance and going to the grocery store or paying. They're investing that money. that's when Black Lives matter. And it matters right now, not only because of the pandemic, but because they know that we buy into those brands. Nike, with all the lawsuits in the world, still right now for how they treat their Black and brown employees, proudly stood up and said Black Lives Matter. And you had folks wearing Nike, even to the award shows, Nike shoes and sweatshirts and stuff down. So until we change the mindset of saying that Black Lives Matter to some of us, and only some Black Lives Matter. And then it also shouldn't be considered a second tier thing. I just had this conversation today. I said, it's funny, Black Lives Matter when they like us to be the first, right? If you're the first, like me, if I'm the first one there, a lot of people like to hold on to that, right? Or naturally, the Black person is the best second candidate. So Black Lives Matter to get that agenda done. We don't have a gray area where it could just be all, and I'm not saying all lives matter for how they put it, right? But I'm saying as far as quality equivalence and economy equivalence and all that, it don't matter. We always got to be serving somebody else to a certain extent in order for us to count.
A commodity.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Same way. Right? We talked about this on Black Grit, on your show Black Grit, right? Me and Yusuf, we was talking about Africa and the work that we're getting ready to do over there. And the long story short, Africa is just now starting to matter again because you got Bill Gates and Bezos running over there trying to get all this genetic information that has been untapped in Africa, but now all of a sudden it's important because you didn't ran out of information on us, on the white folks. They didn't give you all they could give you genetically. And so now you need something to look at a little bit different to come out with that next blockbuster therapeutic, who 9 times out of 10, you're looking for us to have that next blockbuster drug to give you what we already give you for lupus market, how much money you make, cardiovascular disease, how much money you make, diabetes, we are on lock for that.
Right.
Right. So now you're trying to figure out what else can I bring to the table? Who can I look to find these gaps and find these areas that need treatment? So now everybody running their ass to Africa. Same way with tech, Verizon, Microsoft, investing in Africa out the yin yang, taking people's shit. Because all you doing is say you come my incubator, then they still the next thing you know, we got a new option here in the US for our Verizon Fios and shit.
But when you say, but now, and I'm glad you brought that up because, Stephanie and I talked about this earlier, and Dr. Ala Stanford, who has become like the spokesperson for getting COVID testing for our communities and getting vaccines for our communities and making sure that Blacks are getting their fair share and they're getting tested and getting vaccinated and all of that. But she spoke about something and why that plays such a huge part. And a lot of this gun violence that is happening, is just the mindset of where we are in our heads. And I think a big part that we haven't moved to the side or beyond or around slavery. That's one. We have not moved past that. We can't get ourselves out of the mindset that says, I deserve something better. And so we look at everything as a temporary post. You know what I mean? So we don't invest in it because we believe that it will be taken from us, or we don't deserve it, or we shouldn't have it, or they're going to come and get it. So everything we do is always for the moment. And we just have this, I don't care, I don't give a shit kind of attitude. Because nobody else cares or nobody else gives a shit. But I say this is that a lot of people have poured into Black communities some way, somehow. They have poured into Black communities. We're in most instances, we are making a choice. We are making a choice not to do better. We're making a choice. Now, situations and circumstances have landed in everybody's lap. I don't care if you live in the hood or you live in the suburbs. Situations and circumstances will happen to any of us. Any of us. It has nothing to do, because that's just life. We will lose loved ones too. You know what I mean? It may not be the same way, but we all deal with that. But I just don't understand you know, when we grew up, and I know this is an old story that kind of takes a village to raise a child, and that is the truth. But I just can't wrap my mind around that. When your child is 15, probably your mom is 20. or,
Damn.
or,
Okay. Okay.
your mom is like 20, right? Like, I'm just saying.
But you know what?
Why is
Young. See, I will push back on that because young parents and single parents is nothing new in the Black community. A lot of our I'll speak for my family,
No,
right?
Yes.
That is nothing new. It was not unheard of to have someone at 14 having a child, you
Not at
know,
all.
but it was I'll be very personal. My mother's mother was very, very young, right? My mother taught my grandmother, they went to school together, basically. My mother taught my grandmother how to really read and write and function, all that kind of stuff, much better than she had, because she was a child herself when she had a child. But it was different because I think of how my mother's family just kind of surrounded my grandmother when that happened. Now, people on the outside talked a lot of trash, you know, but they wouldn't necessarily say that to the family.
Exactly.
You know, so I think it's, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what has happened, but there's definitely some kind of a disconnect that has occurred. And
It did.
I don't know what generation it happened at. Poverty is nothing new. My family came, my dad's side, they came to Philly and lived in the project. That was so these things happening are not new.
Well, they're not new, but I think even when we talk about, generational and what happens, we tend to, as generations go on, you perpetuate what has happened until somehow somebody's able to break that cycle. So you talk about your family, and even though, your grandmother had your mother very young, but it was just a different family structure where it's like, okay, you're not going to fail just because that happened. But there are other families where they had kids young and did fail, and then the next ones had kids and they failed, and nobody's fixing that. Nobody's making the choice to say, like when Kay talked about making a choice, nobody is able to figure that out or make that choice that says, we got to do something different, because that doesn't have to be the story. So I think that's what it is. And I would love to figure out why that is. Like, why some families, it's different. Why some make it. Like you said, I mean, I've got people in my family had kids young. My own mother, I mean, she was 18 when she had me. So that's young. But we all made it. So it's like, what makes it different in those families? But then I also know people who had kids same age that didn't do as well as I did. I look at my own neighborhood. Like, I could tell you, I could count on one hand and not use all my fingers how many of us who grew up on my block in North Philadelphia went to college. Like, the majority of them didn't, like, college wasn't even an option. There were two of us on an entire block that went to college, and it was never a question in my head. It wasn't even something I strive to do, like, oh, I hope I can go to college. That was always something I was going to do. It was always something I was going to do. So why wasn't it that way for the other friends that I had? And these were friends. Why wasn't it that way?
I think it's because of what I just said. We don't feel like that is our life. The same way we struggle with the fact that, when we exercise, if you say exercise to Black folks, it's like, no, I don't think so. That's not what we do. And of course, there are a lot of other ethnicities that will say, no, that's not what I do either. But for some, that was just a way of life. That's just a way of life. We don't feel that we deserve, and I think we don't think in our heads that if something good happens, it can stick, or that it won't be taken from us. Or we're constantly in this fighting mode, or this ridiculous mindset that says somebody owes me something and I'm gonna keep screwing up until I get the shit that I'm supposed to have because somebody done told you about a mule and some 40 acres somewhere. And you don't even know the history or the story about any of it. All you hear is somebody owe me something. And so you go wreaking havoc because you feel like people owe you something. So when we keep talking about slavery and we keep talking about, how blacks have been down for so long, all that does is plant the seed a lot of times. I'm not saying our history is our history. There's no doubt about that. There's nothing we can do to change it. However, you keep repeating that and you keep planting that seed, we will always walk this earth thinking, you owe me something. I ain't got to earn it. I ain't got to work for it. You owe it to me. Give it to me.
And there's also that validation piece. That,
absolutely.
Right? So with that owe me something mentality, and then you living on Section 8 and all that's kind of validation, like this is for me. This is for me, right? You send your kids to school, the teachers telling the kids, they told my sister. That told my mom, try to say she need to go the vocational route. My sister was smart, A's out the yin yang, math major, graduated from Alabama State. But if my mom wasn't active like that, Gina might have thought that, despite getting all these damn A's,
exactly,
math and everything she was doing, she would have thought that, hey, maybe I need to go to vocational route. It's crazy because these next generation of kids, that's how they're thinking. They're not going to college because, I can't afford it or whatever. These MLs, excuse my language, are thinking to themselves that, well, I don't, they look at it the opposite way. Well, college ain't for me. It's not an option. And Johnny and them on the spot, Bill Gates, first thing to come out their mouth, Bill Gates did it. Yada, yada. It's a
that's a 1 in a million.
Exactly. Like how many Bill Gates were there? Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
We not Bill Gates. I say that all the time.
time.
They ask me, they say, Tia, do we need a master's degree to get ahead? I say, yes. I'm not going to lie to you and say that you don't. I say, in reality, you don't. I said, but for us that look like this,
yes, it's a different standard.
Period.
We do need it.
But I don't care what your white counselor, white teacher, white professor, hell, white hiring manager tries to sell you and get you in the door, you'll be promoted. Nope. You're going to need that master's degree to make it make sense for them.
But you know what?
To validate.
Before you get to the education piece, we don't even believe we deserve to live outside of the neighborhood we grew up in. We don't deserve. You say to some Black people, yo, the suburbs. They're like, yeah, no, I'm going to suburbs. And you think, where do you get that from? Where did you get that
like
why do you why do you think
Good Times was fun on television? That's not fun in real life.
No.
All right. Sitting there with no lights and eating pork and beans is not fun in real life every night.
Why is it you don't want more? Why is it that you don't want more?
Because none of your Black people are validating that you need more either.
Mm-hmm.
What Black people are validating that you need more outside of materialistic shit, right? You got Jay-Z and Beyonce. They built a mansion, whatever. He's doing well. You got P. Diddy is doing well. He's investing in things. What are they investing in? They're investing in the white boy techs. Jay-Z is investing in all these cannabis companies. And no disrespect to him, but to me, that's an easy out. You already know about the drug game on the opposite end. So this is a very easy business for you to understand. And yes, he's doing good by making sure money's being put in the pot to get people out of prison for weed and stuff like that. But you're not showing your community anything different.
Exactly.
Jay-Z or Diddy and Oprah tried, I get that, but it's still some stuff that could have been done. Tyler is doing it to the best of his ability. I know he knows he needs to trickle down some, but to the ones that these kids really look at, these rap stars and athletes, with the exception of LeBron, we're going to count him out because he's doing his thing. But these other ones, you're not doing enough to show them that this other stuff matters.
There's something different.
Nobody's building a school like LeBron did back home. Nobody's investing in Black tech like some of these other venture capitalists or white venture capitalists probably doing more investment in Black tech, even though we still not getting enough money. Like it's all these different things that people that have the capabilities and the finances to really change. For example, right? Why couldn't all these billionaires that we got, Jay-Z and all them, put their money together and buy some fucking COVID-19 vaccine?
Nope. Because it's not.
Wow.
That's not the
Well, why not y'all put a pot of money together to keep the minority businesses open?
Right.
You had Black and Mobile put their pennies together, put their shit together, so that Black restaurants in Philly can have the same opportunities that they didn't have with Uber Eats and the rest of them. Easily, Diddy, Jay-Z, all of them could have put a pot of money to keep these businesses alive. Some of them are staples in our history with athletes and entertainers that paved the way for where they at. They used to attend these establishments all the time. Nothing. And you put on video, Black Lives Matter, mom investing in this, but we never see the video, the pictures where the check is actually cut to somebody that need it. Never. Can't find me one.
Yeah. You know, Oprah does it on My Favorite Things, or used to do it. It give you, you know, a car, or give you.
She got the school in Africa, and I heard her reason for that, and I respect that. But that to me is not reason enough to totally not try to come back at another angle, at another solution to try to get the job done. Even if you started something as
I believe that
a community center to say that you're Black and you're proud, like I even give you credit for that. Just do something out of the norm instead of buying a house and telling us to drink this particular liquor and buy this outfit from Fashion Nova and all this stuff you tell us to do. That's why they're shooting each other right now.
Right, it doesn't matter. And it gives this persona of, I've got this money, and here's what I do with my money. I look good, I drive good stuff, I wear nice things, I got this looking chick, I got this looking dude, I eat chicken, and that's
plant-based chicken now. I eat plant-based.
Let's not leave out chicken. Okay.
Let's not leave out, because we laugh about that. Because we all like chicken, but we laugh about that. But the I eat chicken means I'm still Black, and I'm keeping this thing real. So I'm one of you. But meanwhile, to Tia's point, you are in no way like us, and your money is not reaching down to where it needs to get to.
No,
but not only that, we also have this mentality that says, "Oh, that's just who I am." Just who you are does not have to be who you stay. You understand? That is a part, anything can be a part of your history, be a part of your past, but that does not have to be your present, and it does not have to be your future. And I think that is why we stay put and grounded and complacent in this world, in these worlds that kind of say, listen, this is the best it's going to be for us. This is the best it's going to be. And I think that, you know, a beautiful city like Philadelphia becoming the #1 city for crime. If we surpassed Chicago, we are in trouble.
You're in real trouble.
We are in trouble.
Oh yeah,
we're in trouble.
And you know what?
We don't see it. And there's only so many things that a police department can do, because it wasn't but a few minutes ago that we were marching saying defund the police department. Now we got crime rates going through the damn roof. Most of the police went on retirement. The pandemic sent a lot of them out, took packages, buyouts, everything. So we short-staffed in that area. You have 50% of them that said, I really don't give a shit whether they kill each other or not. I'll take my time to show up because it's going to happen anyway. Honestly, that is the most hurtful thing, you know, as an African American. And I tell you, I wake up every day and I'm grateful that I'm Black. I am grateful that I'm Black. However, to see this kind, and it's not new, but when we are at this point here as the #1 city for just killing each other and babies, and you don't know, you could be standing on a bus stop, you could be just taking your kid to school, you could just be, you know, going in and out of the market, just buying food for your family, or taking your kid to the park. You can't even send your kids to the playground to play ball.
No.
None of that. But I don't understand where the parents are, because I had one of my friends told me yesterday, 3 kids in a car, gunfire, erupted. One of them got grazed on the ankle. One of them is in critical condition, and the other one got grazed on the arm. I say to her, how old were they? She said 13, 14, 15. First of all, whose car are you in at 13, 14, 15? That's one. And where are your parents?
They at work. They working these crazy hours at Amazon, so they may be asleep during the day. Or they may be crazy hours during the day, so they can't be there during the day. Or mere fact, for these other ones, that kid is bringing in that money to pay their rent and keep their food on the table to supplement whatever the parent can't do. This is what's going on. That's what's going on. And even back in the day, y'all know better than me. Gangsters had a code. I love Frank Lucas. Don't judge me. I love American Gangsters. One of my favorite movies.
I love that movie.
They had a code. You didn't do this over here. You didn't do this over here. Here's the other thing. They supported the community. Frank, you know what I mean? Like with bump each other turkeys, like they knew what their neighborhood needed. Now, even though they was doing the jacked up stuff, I'm not gonna take it away by selling the stuff to the neighborhood. They still had a certain code for people that was not in that realm of using those drugs, if that makes any sense.
And nobody was hungry.
But they don't now, right?
But now they don't care. You know, I already had my incident on Cecil B. Board. I told Kay about it. I've only been living here going on 3 months now. And I couldn't find my regular barber in Philly. So I went to this barbershop there. Very peculiar. Block jacked up. But the dude riding around in a Bentley. He the owner of the shop. That's all I say on that. Okay.
I'm just sorry.
Shop dirty, everything. Little dude ran in there, thought he got shot up. He telling his story. I'm like, so why you running here if they shooting at you?
You coming in here with us?
Like, am I? And then you said you had a friend, so you left your friend in the car to get shot? Yeah, I jumped through the window. I jumped through the passenger side. What? Like, there is no code. This is all about survivorship, right? It's all about survivorship. So you just got to do better, man.
We have a generation of young people who are raising themselves.
Yes.
We have young people raising themselves. And look, I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. They don't know what they're doing. You're just not equipped at that age to do it, and they are letting everything is raising them but parents.
Right, and they learn from YouTube. That's why they think they smarter than the average bear. They literally watch YouTube all hours of the day to figure out how to cook something as simple as eggs to creating a sneaker out of scraps, and they can actually do this shit too. Like this is why this joint is jacked. And so I hate to say this, but there is how can I put it? As much as the federal government and everybody else is pushing Black Lives Matter to go get this COVID-19 vaccine, I hate to say it, but some of this stuff, us not taking a vaccine, for those of us that are able to take it, Amazon working the hell out of Black and brown people so that they're not available during the day. This is not by coincidence, y'all.
It's terrible. Not by coincidence. It's terrible.
It's horrible.
And there are no more, and I think the crack era wiped away most of our real estate. So,
but now they're coming back for it.
Right. And there are no more people kind of sitting at home on the porch watching it go down. You know what I mean? You know, everything.
Right. Listen, like we talked about, it takes a village. The village is not available. They're not available.
And their grandparents at work. Their grandparents and their great-grandparents at these jobs too.
Right.
The village is gone. The village is gone. Nobody's watching, except the cameras. And that's by design, except the cameras that they planted everywhere. Because I can tell you this, and I ain't mad at them, because more than half of people get caught in these crimes now because of these cameras they put everywhere.
Right.
Well, they video it themselves.
Exactly.
That's right. Listen, it's how they're catching most of the people from the Capitol riots because they still posting it on dating sites. Like, hey, I was at the Capitol.
Right.
Okay. Want to go on a date? I'm excited, girl.
Technology is no joke, and you got to appreciate technology today. Because guess what? It is allowing a lot of exposure on a lot of things that we did not know, did not see, did not hear. It is exposing all of it. But my heart just breaks for those babies who cannot even come and play outside in their neighborhoods. And I'm not mad, because guess what? Wherever you live, as long as it's clean and you're happy and your kids and you and your family are safe, that can be anywhere. Mm-hmm. That can be anywhere. But we are responsible, because I tell you, when you go out to the suburbs, they not have, when I tell you, you want to see somebody get together for some issues, listen, they could see 2 pieces of trash on the street and there's a town hall meeting.
Right, it's a town hall meeting.
Listen,
we need people to adopt a highway for 2 people.
Now wait a minute. Let me tell you something about the suburbs. Let me tell you something about that. Because you know, my stint, I'd be in the movie theater like this. Every time something happens, let somebody come in, because you never know when they come in there upset. Okay,
no, I got a better one for you. I got a better one for you. So I live in Center City, so we got the little what they call a little boutique Target, right? What they call looms or whatever they be called, right? Heirloom. So they got these bags, the reusable bags. Now you know when you go all to the grocery store, what they do? You got to pay for that bag. Well, now they doing this new thing. That bag is everywhere. Like, you just get it. So when I walked up to the register, I'm looking at the bag. Now, I don't watch the white man take the bag. I'm like, he just gonna steal that bag like that. He ain't gonna ring it up. But you know, ain't no cashiers. It's the scanners, right? My dumb ass got the bag, looking for the SKU code, like trying to, like, I ain't gonna get it. I walk out with this bag. They ain't gonna let my ass walk out, right? So the supervisor said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, how scan this bag?" I was like, "Y'all ain't got no plastic bag. I gotta take this bag." He was like, "No, that's the bag. You good? You can take it."
That's the bag.
Laughing, we fell out laughing. I said, "Hey, I ain't know."
Because you thinking to yourself, I ain't going to jail today. No,
right, no,
right.
Like $1 or something, whatever. He was like, "No, ma'am, it's free. You just take as many as you want." I was like, all right.
In that case, I'll take 2.
Okay, I did. Normally, I would have stuffed everything in that bag. I didn't want that for free. I was like, "That's a little bit of each one." You know what I'm saying? It's second nature. We traumatized. This shit is nature.
This is what I'm saying, and I think we are traumatized, and we can't move past that. We can't move past that to see how precious and how gifted and how beautiful our race really is, and really have some sense of appreciation for being a Black man and a Black woman, because we keep fighting the past. We're living there, we're fighting it, we're being reminded of it constantly, and it's not even our fight. A lot of it is not our fight.
Not our fight.
It's not our fight. And we have beaten ourselves down. We have shortchanged ourselves. We have not believed in ourselves. We haven't believed we're worth anything. We're not good enough. Any of that. And when you're hearing it and being treated like that, because people will only treat you how you allow them to treat you. Yeah. And that's the truth of the matter.
Right.
That's the truth of the matter. Now, come with, what comes with that is sacrifice, because guess what? You got to be able to walk when you're being mistreated and disrespected. You got to be able to look at somebody and say, you know what? That can't happen here. So I got to sacrifice whatever that is to keep my dignity and to keep my, because you can't treat me any kind of way. I won't allow that.
Right.
I'm not saying that, things don't happen or people don't have an opinion about something, but we are so beat down that we do not even see our own worthiness. We just don't.
Until we can get past that, our lives are going to continue not to matter to us as much as they should.
Exactly. And you are absolutely right, Val. You are absolutely right. Ladies, it was awesome, as always, having this chat. And so for those who are watching, those who have jumped in and jumped out, tuned in, watching it later, or whatever the case might be, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The GYST. And on Wednesday, we will be back again, and hopefully Tia can join us, because I do want to talk about this Delta variant that's going around, and what does that look like for us? Are we going to go back to the mask? What exactly is going to happen? And I know Tia has the inside scoop with all things biotech, bioscience, drugs, you know, what exactly is happening. So I think that is a conversation that needs to be had, because I think we are all on pins and needles trying to figure out what exactly is going to happen. Because when you see these other states that are going back to mask mandates and all of this stuff, you're like, oh, damn, like, are we going back there? But we're going to have that conversation on Wednesday at 8 p.m. right here again, and that's what we're going to talk about. Thank you for joining the GYST, because when it comes to life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, sometimes you just need a moment to get your shit together. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Bye.